everybody. I'm your host, Jaime Cerreta. On this podcast, we celebrate everything local in Arizona. If you have dietary restrictions, this couple will make your dining dreams come true. I want to introduce you to Rich and Michelle Bonura of Beg Bakery and Creamery and PARM Italia. Hello, you two.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Now, when I say Beg and when I say PARM, both of them have a meaning and a reason behind them. So tell me what they mean.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Beg was the original concept that we started during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is I got sick about 5 years ago, wound up bedridden. Doctors couldn't tell me anything that was wrong with me. And on my own journey of trying to find out what was wrong with me, because you're in bed for 8 months, TV's gone in the first 30 days. And then after that, you start to read and try to find out how I can help myself. And everything I found said to try a plant-based lifestyle for 2 to 4 weeks. Something about that's been known to restart the immune system. So I was like, okay, great. That's something within my control. So we tried it. 4 weeks later, my blood work went back to normal. 6 weeks later, I was vertical.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's going on 5 years ago. Now, during that period, because I had lost so much weight, I'm currently at my 7th grade weight. So, I mean, I'm about 80 or 90 pounds lighter than I once was. And my sister-in-law, who knows that I have a sweet tooth, started baking all these baked goods that were sweet, that were vegan. Primarily because she was worried if something happened to me, she didn't want to deal with her sister
come on.
losing her husband.
She wanted to help her sister.
Yeah.
out,
She was
of
trying to
course, and
fatten
you
me
as
up to
well.
survive. I get it.
Yes.
And so she started making this stuff, and as people would visit, they would try it and say, wow, these are great. Where'd you get them? And then we would tell them they were vegan or they were gluten-free, and they'd say, no way, that's not even possible. This is great. This is better than the real stuff. And so that's the evolution of Beg. What that then became is, of course, I was working in corporate America and being sick for 8 months and being on disability. Being counter did the calculation and said it's cheaper to fire him and pay a payout because we wrongfully terminated him than it is to keep him on the books. So therefore, they wrote me a check, and that helped pay for part of the business. And we started to find that this kind of just started to open an opportunity. Friends of mine had a building in Scottsdale that they weren't using and had no real use for it. So they said, do you guys want to take a look and see if you might be able to use it? So we just kind of like it unfolded appropriately to the point where we built the bakery. Now, our original plan was to be a delivery service for the first year. So we actually had bought a food truck that it was going to be the delivery mechanism. So you would sign up to get, let's say, every week a delivery or every other week, and we would come and deliver it for you every week or every other week. Well, when we went into an actual building, which wasn't supposed to happen until our 3rd year in business, but the opportunity presented itself, so we took advantage of it 3 years too soon. That left this food truck that we had spent all this money on with no real reason or purpose for, and it just sat there. So after the first year of getting the bakery up and running, we then started to look at, okay, how can we utilize the truck? And at the same time, we started to identify that people eat baked goods regularly in our place, which is great. We do appreciate that. I do understand that you're balancing out a discretionary expenditure as well as a caloric discretionary expenditure.
All right.
But when it comes to food, you got to eat every day, right? You have to eat meals at least 2 or 3 times a day. And the options for that, especially if you're in a plant-based or a gluten-free lifestyle, is much smaller as an opportunity. So we started to kind of work on things for me because I was looking for foods that I wanted that I wasn't able to find in the marketplace. And being a chef and a foodie, I started to mess around with, okay, can I start making some of the things that I missed the most? And so that started with trying to figure out, can we do, well, eggplant was easy because we've always made eggplant in our restaurant. So that's an easy one, right? So we did the eggplant. That's great. Now let's start working on a chicken. And the chicken took us a while to get to.
To do a vegan
To do a vegan chicken well.
Right.
And it actually, one of the things when we got into this business that we identified early on is, for us, we were going to be the early adopters, meaning we knew going in 5 years the technology would change, the landscape would change and improve. And at that point, the competitive landscape is going to be much more aggressive. And that's about the time we were planning to try and be getting out of the marketplace. Just imagine if meat goes up or eggs for what we're seeing, and now these alternative lifestyles become more of the livelihood for most businesses. You're going to see a trend of the businesses trending more into these lifestyles, not as a choice, but as the reason for circumventing cost, either from tariffs or low production rates or shipping issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's cheaper not to use the egg if you can use applesauce or whatever instead.
And so you're going to see that development is going to unfold. I mean, what this current administration is looking to do, right? Change the way we look at food and maybe look at going to an alternative way of doing that. And in doing so, it makes our business a little less relevant than it is today. And so we had always been, okay, we're going to do this for this period of time, be the early adopters, kind of put people and set a bar of this is what you should at least hope and expect for. And kind of that's our mode. That's what we got into doing BEG for.
Yeah, and BEG means?
Butter-free.
Egg-free, gluten-free. Tastes so good, you'll beg for more. You
Welcome
can
to
tell
the
we had a lot of time in COVID time, right?
Yeah. And then PARM, go ahead.
And PARM is, so we started that. This is really his going, is that I had a restaurant, was working as a waitress many moons ago, 25 years ago, and he would come in and harass me. I called him
harass. Tell me what do you mean?
Well,
I came in and ate every day.
he came in and ate every day, and he was very particular with how his food was being served.
Okay.
That's why I knew that he was going to be an awesome chef, because he was very particular. So he would come in all the time, and they go, "Oh, your pizza stalker came in," and I was like, "Oh, he's a good guy." And so then they came to me and said, "You should buy this restaurant." I'm like, "I'm a single mom with a 1-year-old child. How am I going to buy this restaurant?" And here comes Rich, and we started to date, and he said, "You know what, Michelle, this is your dream. This is something that you would like to do. You figure out getting the lease, you figure out all the business side, I'll figure out the money."
Wow.
So he bought me that restaurant, which was NYC Pizza and Pasta. And then
Where was that?
that was
located?
on Gilbert, in between Baseline and on Gilbert and Guadalupe. And so we were there for 3 years, lost that restaurant, and decided to raise our kids instead. He went into sales, and I said, one day we'll open up a restaurant again. And then 25 years later, we were able to open up PARM. And PARM stands for?
Plants are restorative medicine.
Yes. And so that's the plants is really where we were going into with the journey of going through the hospitals. Plants are more healthy and better medication than a lot of medication that's out there right now.
And yet you have a beautiful pizza there, too.
Pizza. The meatballs are amazing. The meatball he worked on for over a year. And when I tell you they're made out of potatoes, peas, and other goodness, but it tastes just like a meatball. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're delicious.
It's delicious. Yeah. The pizzas are great. Everything he does is amazing. So he is an awesome chef, and you have to come through and get some food.
I will say that I'm an awesome consumer.
I see what you're doing.
When
he's
I go
turning
to places to eat, I'm looking for an experience, right? Like we've been around the world, we've traveled a lot when we were younger, and we've been. But the objective of going to all these places and having all these experiences was to get something that you would remember forever. I'll give you one of the greatest examples, culinary-wise, is a friend of ours. We were in Miami, took us 2 places, one of which was, he told us, it's a hole-in-the-wall spot that will get you a Cubano. He goes, but you can't get out of the car. It's like in a really bad neighborhood.
Were you driving through?
Oh, yeah.
It was scary. They sold socks on the side, socks and Cuban sandwiches.
I'll take whatever. I'll take 2.
Well,
I'll do anything you want.
I got out of the car and went to the window. I'm from New York. You're not going to intimidate me. But there was a barred window, and on a tile at the window in permanent ink marker was written the 4 options that you have. That you just point to one of the 4 options is the choice.
Oh, wow.
But I will tell you, the best. I could taste that sandwich in my mouth today, and that's got to be 15 or 17 years ago, somewhere in that regard. That's the way eating should be.
Yes.
You should be left with an experience that you go, oh my gosh, that was so good. Not I feel full, or oh my gosh, that was so much food, or no, it should be like, oh my gosh, that was the best experience. And that's ultimately what we strive for in every avenue of what we do. It's about the experience. I want you to eat that food. And it's funny because I don't need to see or hear anything from a customer. As a matter of fact, when I deliver food, I'll usually watch from the window the pass. And it's 2 things. I either get the like, oh yeah, this is right. The head nod is a great affirmation. Or the other one is I get the look like,
how the heck?
Shut up. Like, what is this? right? And then they'll look
this
they'll look to whoever they're with and like, here, you got to try this. When that happens, then I know we're in. Now, she'll tell you for her, it's when she sees women with a full plate of food, and when it goes back to the kitchen, there is nothing not an ounce of
Yes.
sauce, nothing
Lick
left
that
on.
plate.
Yeah.
She goes, I don't understand. I don't know how people do it. And I
Yeah.
go, well, that's ultimately what we're looking to give.
Yeah.
But that comes out of a place for, as I eat in the valley, there are very few places for me that give me that experience.
Yeah.
So when I look at it, we have a lot of people that come in and say they want to do this and this is their dream. And the first thing I'll tell them is
Let's sit down. Let's talk. Because you have to have a dream, a passion, and the intuitive to do it every single day with passion. If you're not going to wake up to be able to say, I'm going to serve these people with love and passion every single day, it's not a world for you to be in. And he does it with the food side. I do it with, I want every person that comes in to be happy. I want them to feel like they're at Mama's table or Aunt Irene and getting fed. They go, every time, Michelle, I come in, you tell me what I'm going to eat. And I go, because I know what you want, you know? So I love the experience of actually seeing the joy of people being able to eat.
Yeah.
We had a 7-year-old come in, and I remember it was the first 2 weeks, and I go, is this what we're supposed to be doing? Because it's a lot of work, right? And a 7-year-old was up in the front counter, and I am very intuitive in regards to people's reaction, and she was crying. And I go, oh my gosh, Rich, is she okay? And she goes, she's never had a cup of ice cream or a cupcake ever because she has all these dietary restrictions. So she's crying with happiness, a little 7-year-old that couldn't have it. And I go, we're in the right place. We're doing the right thing. Or you see someone that has diabetes, can't eat anything. Pretty much everything that we have is sugarless, not sugar-free, but we use a lot of applesauce and maybe a tablespoon of sugar in like a 6-pack or a 12-pack of muffins.
Oh, my goodness.
So a lot of people are able to eat and be able to live a good lifestyle and then get a smile when they come in.
Well, you
know?
think of maybe a little girl who's told, no, you can't have that. No,
Yeah.
you can't have that.
Over
As
and
everyone
over
else
again.
at the table's having it.
Yes.
And to be able to walk into a place where they can have that
Right.
is a really big deal.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of, when we were first starting the business, we've owned other businesses before, and one of our behaviors is generally we'll go either into that environment, meaning we'll go to other businesses that are like that just to observe. We want to see what is like
Yeah.
kind
How
of
they are. Yeah.
Research.
Yes, you want to see what they do effectively.
Yeah.
What they even the restaurant that we wound up buying and owning together, we both worked there for free for 90 days just to kind of figure out what would work for us and what wouldn't.
Yeah.
But during that period of time, I stopped at a friend's donut shop, Sojo's in Mesa. It's a vegan donut shop, which I would highly recommend.
Give them a little.
Well, yeah, I want
hi,
to give them a little love
Sojo's. Yes,
because
of
they
course,
do a
yes.
great product. But one of the things early on is I was in there waiting for my breakfast sandwich, and I watched a 5-year-old walked in and he planted his face against that glass case,
Yeah.
and I watched the look of horror in the mom's face because the mom looked like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to destroy this kid's
Right.
dream.
Yeah.
And he said to the lady behind the counter, she goes, are you sure all of this is dairy free? Like, are you okay? Because I can't take any
Yeah.
chances. And Jocelyn says, oh, yeah, you're good. Everything here is plant-based. And she's like, you're sure? Like, and I could see the look of terror. And when she told that kid he can have whatever he wanted, he was so happy. And she took that. But you could see the hair standing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we do it every day. Yeah.
You gave somebody a piece of life that they did not have, that is so taken for granted by other people because it's so easy, it's so accessible that it's normal. That when you don't have that scenario and situation, to be able to provide that for somebody really is a life-changing thing for them as well as for us. That's
because in return you're like, whoa, they're getting the same feeling that I'm giving to them to be able to eat the way, you know, because we have lived this lifestyle for now.
too long.
Well, he's lived it a lot longer, and he's like, I'll bring you on. Well, I was born on a family cow farm.
Oh, wow.
My addiction is ice cream. So I was hospitalized twice for ice cream intake.
No way. Are you joking? Come on.
No,
What
joking.
happened, Michelle?
Well,
What happened?
Well,
It's comfort
because
food.
It's comfort
delicious.
food, and it is something that I absolutely love. And the doctor was in my face going, come on, like enough with the milk.
Oh
You
my gosh.
cannot have milk. I go, well, then we better make our ice cream.
Yeah. So you did have a dietary issue.
I did, but I kept on fighting it. I kept on fighting it, Jamie. I kept on going, I can beat it. My body is strong. It can, no.
So I want you to continue the story. I want to jump in here, but I just want to give, no, don't be sorry, because I want you to continue the story. But I want to pause here for a second, just because when you're in bed and you read for 8 months, you start to find out some data that's available to everybody, but we don't see it.
We don't have time.
Okay,
We're not
so
reading it.
statistics for lactose intolerance currently, the overall population, okay? 98% of Native Americans lactose intolerant. 95% of Asians lactose intolerant. 89% of Hispanic or quote unquote brown people that come from the Dominican, they come from the islands, they come from anywhere that's not what you would call Northern European, okay? Lactose intolerant. Northern Europeans, aka white folks, 24%. Now, do you know the reason?
No.
Because white people created the cow. We brought steers over and we cross-pollinated that here in the U.S. to create the cow. And every generation of Northern Europeans were raised on cow's milk, which is what they have the ability to digest, as opposed to the indigenous populations that were raised on buffalo, goat, or other animals. And the second their young were able to hunt and eat meat, they took them off of the milk. So their bodies are not designed to digest milk. But yet, everybody eats it, deals with the stomach issues, the bloating, the upset grumbling, the gas, the bathroom effects, like all of that, and just normalizes that as, oh, that's just what we do because that's just the way that it is. But the reality of it is our bodies tell a much longer story as to what we were created and designed to be able to take in. And if we understood that, so when dealing with her, I'm going, okay, this is comfort food. You're in comfort for 5 minutes and then in discomfort for 5 hours.
I mean, it's pretty yummy. So where did you get all your
that's
research?
What I did.
Where did you find your research?
I started working on doing ice cream. I started working on how do I make ice cream so that we could stop this process. And I got to be honest, I never met cheese that I didn't like, but I still dealt with all the symptoms. I spent 6 hours a day in the restroom most days. And that's not an exaggeration. She'd be like, dude, what are you
okay?
Yeah, like you're all right. But that's the result of not giving my body what my body was necessarily designed to. That was me telling my body, this is what you're going to take and like it. So I didn't mean to jump in there, but it's great to understand because if you're outside and listening to this in one way, shape, or form, more than likely you are lactose intolerant. You should be trying to take alternatives to utilizing lactose in your diet because you're going to see immeasurably. When people ask me what's the benefit of eating this way, I would say if you can do anything, get rid of dairy. Dairy is probably the worst thing affecting your body right now. Once that's out of your body and you get a baseline, then determine what you want to maybe change. But asking people to give up cheese, ice cream, you know, all the good stuff. I mean, you know, I do miss a bowl of cereal where, you know, I could drink the milk at the end and it's all that sugary goodness. And yeah, those are all things that I grew up on. But the reality of it is those are all the things that my body didn't necessarily accept as easily.
So because you gave us numbers, where'd you get your research? Where'd you find it?
So everything that I read, generally I'll start off with U.S. sites. So I'll go to Medical Journal, the New England Medical Journals. I would go into, you start off with Google, like Google autoimmune related disease, because that's what they told me I have, an autoimmune related, and these are my symptoms. And then 800 things pop up that match it. That's not an exaggeration. I match 800 known issues.
Wow.
Okay. Now, the way they deal with this for the doctor is you go in weekly and they test you for 5 to 10 of these and they tell you, you don't have these, come back next week. After 2 weeks of that, you're sick and annoyed.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
then it was just, let me find out for myself and hone it down to, I think these are what they are, bring it to the doctor and say, I need you to test me for these things. A good point to stop here. You absolutely need to advocate for yourself in dealing with the medical industry.
You have to.
It's the reason why it's called medical practice, okay? Because you need to have, no two bodies are the same. Nobody reacts the same to every medicine or medication. You need to advocate for what you're specifically going through. And I can tell you, her sister, who is a medical miracle, literally a medical miracle, she's been brought back to life at least 5 times.
11. But 5 in 1 week.
The reason that they'll tell you she's alive today is because she understands and knows as much as the doctor she's working with to be able to tell them, this is what's going on and this is what I need you to look at. And that's why she's still alive today. So
This is the baker.
no.
Oh, a different
That's my
sister.
younger sister. And so she actually had to move. She moved here and had a liver transplant.
Oh.
So 25 years ago, she had her first child, and they left gallstones inside of her for gauze inside of her for 9 months. So they didn't open her up. I went to Illinois, saw my sister was green and jaundice, brought her back to the Mayo Clinic, and she specifically went into the health field to learn about her disease, so it will never happen to somebody else
Oh
again.
my goodness.
Yeah, so she's been doing that for years, and so when she sees us doing what we're doing, she's like, it is amazing because you're giving people joy.
Yeah, and that ice cream, because that was one of the beginning stages of your business.
Huge.
Was that ice cream? Were you making it during COVID? Is that when you were really
Well, no,
detailing it?
actually, we kept on trying to make it, and it took forever because we tried. There was the aftertaste with gluten-free vegan ice cream that I do not like. The aftertaste, you'll see it in an oat or a soy ice cream. I want it to taste as close to yogurt or a Andy's yogurt as possible.
The frozen custard.
And
yeah.
no, I need it. I need it
know
like
what you're talking
I
about.
need my daily wake up every day.
Which
So,
the reason that's so good is dairy and eggs. I mean, that's the
yes.
frosting.
Yeah,
That's
so
what creates it.
creamy.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
so we were taking a vacation. And I said, we need to take a vacation because this is going to be our life for 5 years. We're not going to vacation. We're just going to go full.
Focus.
So we're in Hawaii underneath a macadamia nut tree.
Oh.
And we never tried macadamia nut ice cream.
Mm.
So I was like, Kona is bringing something to us. So we went and tried their vegan ice cream. I said, yep, that is it. That is it. And so we came back and
When
did that.
when I asked the lady, hey, has anybody made ice cream? Because macadamia has the highest fat content.
Yeah, it
and it's the
does.
healthiest fat content, right? So that equates to what makes cream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I was like, hey, is there anybody ever thought of making ice cream? And the lady said, well, there's a place on the island. She gave me the information. And I went there to go have ice cream. Now, what I will tell you, that ice cream, again, the hair standing up, I mean, it
good.
was phenomenal.
amazing.
And that was one of my biggest complaints about vegan food is like the ice cream seemed to be a gnarly mess. Like no matter where I had the ice cream, it was like,
It's
really?
like ice chips in a
Yeah,
cup.
it's kind of like if you've ever had the Sizzler free vanilla that would come out and it had like the pieces. Okay,
I
I'm
just
dating.
want to wait in the way back machine.
Yeah, exactly.
The sizzle.
the food time machine.
Yes.
But anyway, so the guy tells me to go to this place. I go there. I eat the ice cream. It's ridiculous. I go back home and like we all got to go there and eat. So we would drive 30 minutes over on the island to go eat there, and everybody would love it. And every day they'd send me on that 30-minute drive to go get an ice cream cone. Now, after about 5 days, I pulled the owner aside because he saw me every day. And I said, listen, I own a shop in Arizona. We're 3,000 miles away from you. I don't need your recipe. I'll figure it out on myself. However, can you tell me the mistake you learned, the thing that I shouldn't do, knowing what you know now, so I can avoid going anywhere near any of that? And he looks at me and he goes, listen, he goes, I milk my own nuts. I buy the nuts and I crush them and I milk them. He goes, don't do that.
Oh.
He goes, buy the pasteurized milk. And I go, okay, but why? And he goes, extra protein. Extra protein. It dawned on me, well, the nuts fall down, they wind up on the ground, bugs crawl in, and he just crushes them. And now, what I will tell you is, his ice cream was creamier than mine. Okay? And the only thing I know that it's a difference is the extra protein.
Oh my.
But it didn't stop me from eating the ice cream every day after that. Like I kept going there
It was so
knowing
good.
full well that the ice cream probably had a little bit of bug juice in it,
Oh my.
but didn't mind it as much because of the fact of how good the product was. And that's when it dawns on me going, okay, if I'm me, I'm not one to try like, oh, let me take a scorpion and try. That's
Yeah.
not my game. But not knowing and eating it for a couple of days and being like, that was great. So I think I'm just going to like
Go with
close
it.
my eyes and live with it.
Yeah.
That changed my perspective.
I just heard of this story. He never told me about this.
Well, because you would never eat the ice cream. I'm trying to get it in
You're
that.
like, you drove 30 minutes and fed me.
I gave you bug dropping ice cream.
I
Yes,
would have
absolutely.
still eaten it because I loved it and it didn't hurt my stomach. But it
Oh,
was,
my gosh.
yeah. So that's why we came back, and it was crazy because we were working about a year and a half in, and someone came in and said, "Hey, Michelle, do you know you're number 2 in the United States for your ice cream?"
Oh.
And I go, "No, I wasn't
And
aware."
Yelp or where?
So Yelp put
See,
us
that's
into
the
the
thing,
top
yeah.
100 ice creams
Yeah.
in the United States, not knowing we were dairy free.
Oh.
Okay, they didn't ask us, they didn't tell us, they just put us in that. And we finished number 2 in the state of Arizona, but we finished 26th in the nation. But now it's 26 against dairy. So every other dairy competitor competed against us, and we wound up in the top, just below 25% against a non-dairy product. And I'll take that. I'll take that any day, because the reality of it is that our ice cream does stand up to a test for a non-traditional. If you look at all of our reviews, a traditional eater is going to come in there and say, oh my gosh, this is great, but I'm not vegan.
Yeah.
And that's what we get. All the reviews are, I'm not vegan, but I'm not vegan, but I'm not vegan, but
I'm not gluten-free. Because gluten-free is more of where we're going.
Okay.
Yes, because I have seen it when I've gotten older. I've turned 50, the big 50.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you. And with the big 50, a lot of hormonal stuff comes along with that. And I was having problems, and gluten would intensify those issues. So my thing is let's take the gluten out of everything, and then let's figure that out.
So another great educational drop.
Yes.
Because
well, you guys are very well versed in medical research, obviously.
Well, I will say that we're more.
He is, honey. I'm like, just feed me the information.
Okay.
Feed it to me.
I have to be, if I'm being fully transparent,
Yes,
I've done this throughout my whole life. I love social experiments, right? Like if you walk in my house, for the first 5 years we lived in the house, I used to have this little pirate thing that sat right on the top of the steps, right when you first walked in. Everybody saw it, but it amazed me that people just tune it out as like it's not there. No one in 7 years said, hey,
who's that?
Why is there a little pirate thing? You know what I mean? Like, but I would do those things just to elicit a response. Well, with gluten-free stuff, I did wonder why all of a sudden people are starting, because everybody's saying, why, oh, it's a fad. Oh, it's this. Well, no, there's actually a reason why this is occurring.
Yeah.
Okay, so for thousands of years when they bake, they use yeast. Yeast ferments. That fermentation is what allows the yeast to rise. That process puts the enzyme in your body to digest gluten. In industrial baking, meaning everywhere outside of your house today, the last several years, they no longer use yeast. They use a chemical process because it's cheaper and it's faster. Therefore, you are not getting the enzyme to digest gluten any longer. So therefore, a lot of people are developing gluten issues. Same thing when you take the cow out of the equation and, oh, you were drinking goat and now I'm going to give you a cow and now you're having all these problems because you can't adjust to a cow. You were having the issue we're having the issue with yeast because it was giving you the enzyme. Now I'm going to remove that and now you're having these issues. There's a direct cause and effect that no one connects the dots. And that's where we've kind of done the social experiment. So we make a cinnamon roll. It's the only thing that we make that's not gluten-free. And we get a lot of people, I want a gluten-free one. I want a gluten-free one. I want a gluten-free one. Well, one day in the bakery, we happened to notice when we told somebody it wasn't gluten-free, the people behind them started going. And I was like, is there a problem? And they said, we've been eating those for months and we're gluten-free. Like, I can't have gluten or I have a terrible reaction. And that kind of sparked really? So then what we did was we started in blocks of 20, inviting 20 of our most problematic influencers that I know from their social media posts. Because with people with gluten issues, they'll get blotchy, they'll swell, or they'll vomit. Like it's an instant response. So it's something, if I give it to you and you have it, I can notice right there and then.
Yeah.
Today, we're 84 for 85. Zero reaction with regular flour, utilizing yeast in that cinnamon roll with people that have issues with gluten that have no problem eating that. And the only person who did have it had COVID 2 weeks prior to trying it. So we're not sure if that disrupted the mechanism.
Your case study.
Right, but we're trying.
Person, yes.
And what we tell people is, listen, we're not doing this to sell you a cinnamon roll. What we're doing is offering it so that you can go out and buy a regular bread maker, decide if you want to use regular or gluten-free flour. It's a choice now that you can make for yourself, and stop buying $14 loaves of bread that are horrible at the grocery store. Do something to kind of free yourself. And that's kind of what we've done, is given a lot of people the availability and freedom for making a different choice, because they have not everybody's sick for 8 months and can read all the data and analyze it and then present it to them in a way that's palatable, pun intended. But knowing that's our journey and what's brought us to here, and seeing how that's helped people, that's become part of our brand. That's become part of the educational process of who we are, why we do it. And don't get me wrong, we had people come in who are dairy farmers and stand in there and say, how can you tell people dairy is bad? You can't live your life without dairy. I'm sorry, I have for 3 years. not an ounce. Like,
Yeah.
I
Let's lay off the dairy farmers. I have one uncle
Well, no,
back
no.
home that's flipping around right now.
I understand, but the
I
reality
understand,
is,
yeah.
you have to understand how we got here.
Yeah.
You can't say that it's not the dairy farmer's fault. It really isn't the dairy farmer's fault of how we got here. How we got here is through basic abundance. How we wind up with milk as a overall process is breakfast cereal. I'll shut up here anytime if you'd like to have your floor back on your. But when you get to, I spent 8 months reading. I want to vomit it somewhere. So
this is it.
This is it. With dairy farmers, the breakfast cereal is what really introduced dairy into our system as an overall process daily. So prior to the initial breakfast cereal of Special K and those, everything was a warm cereal. You had grits, you had farina, you had oatmeal.
Yeah.
Okay, all were warm cereals, but they weren't made in an abundance to be able to sustainably feed the overall population consistently. Well, corn, which is what we make a lot of here in this country,
I do love corn.
was in abundance.
Love corn, yeah.
And then you have cornflakes. So now you bring in cornflakes as another cereal option, but we already had all these hot cereal options. So now we need a cold cereal option. And the cold cereal option came out of the fact we were already subsidizing dairy farmers and they needed some more love. So now you marry the breakfast cereal with the milk. And now you have what does the body good as a marketing campaign to be able to present that as a sustainable, nutritious way to feed people every day. And it's abundant. And that's how we wind up with a whole linked to milk. Milk started with just the idea of a cereal and then winds up infecting every other part of our culture because of subsidies and trying to be able to create a way that it could be sustainable. And here we are, 8 decades later looking at it going, this might not be so sustainable.
Yeah. And then turning 50 and be like, my body's changing and now
It's
I can't do
changing
these
and-
digestive
yes.
things that I used to. You had said something that I thought was a beautiful question that I wanted to ask of you. When you went and met that man who was making that ice cream, you asked him, what mistake did you make that you could save me from? If you guys were talking to a business owner, what mistake did you make that you would like to save them from?
Don't go into the restaurant industry.
That
Do
is
you know how many people say that to me and
Don't
they joke?
go
They
in.
laugh because they love it. But
Okay,
but
this
it's
is a
true. It's hard.
disease. This really is a disease. People like us have this disease. Now, what I will tell you is, I have the disease.
I don't agree with him in that, but that's
I'm
okay.
going to prove my point right here on TV. Okay, so I can be right in forever because it's on. It's on. some
Forever,
form of-
yes,
see,
yes.
we'll
Forever on
see.
YouTube,
Okay.
we will live.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, giving somebody the experience through my food is who I am when no one's looking. There's nothing better for me. We don't do this for the money. I'm going to tell you straight out there. This is not for the money at all. Zero.
Yet. But go ahead.
Zero. The reality for me is it comes in the experience I know I gave somebody that they can never have somewhere else. And that is what the calculation for me is. For her, as a people pleaser, as a person who wants to make people happy, that's just who she is when no one's looking. This is the greatest opportunity to serve people and be able to make them happy in a situation where she has only the availability to win. No one comes into to a bakery and is in a bad mood. No one comes into
I'm
the
sure it happens occasionally.
Hangry vegans still. Hangry vegans. If they're
Watch out
hungry,
for them.
yes,
Sounds
you
like the
don't
name of
have
a rock
food.
band.
Like
Hangry
Hangry
vegans, yes, I
I'd
like
go to
that.
that show.
I had
Exactly.
said I have never seen anybody angry, especially vegans. But when they didn't have food truck Friday there, they were angry. I was like,
Well,
this
you
is
do have
scary.
to. You have to live with people who are living within their
And they have to
restrictions,
eat,
and it's very
yes.
specific. And then they are trusting you, and that's a
Yes.
big deal. Are you sure that cinnamon roll is gluten free, or is it not, or what's up? Because I
Yes.
need to know because that's the rest of my week, maybe.
Yes.
and that's a huge
It's a
deal.
huge thing.
Responsibility, really, on your end.
Yeah, well, and that's why we went the extra mile because we have a gluten-free kitchen we cook from, we have a vegan kitchen we cook from, and then we have our food kitchen.
You have 3 kitchens.
So we have
Yes.
3 kitchens that we have put in. That's why we're not wealthy yet. But we are. Let me just tell you, because this is the thing.
We're
It's
wealthy
like-
in the things that don't cost
yeah,
money.
because this is what happened last week. That I'm like, if I die tomorrow, I know I did well, or we did well. And so there was a lot of people come from the Mayo Clinic, and that's close to my heart because of my sister. And so it was an elderly gentleman and his wife, and he was like, they're in their 80s. And she's walking in, and I could tell she was a little feeble. And she comes up, and I'm like, welcome to Beg. How are you doing? And they go, we're here because my wife's bucket list is to have one of your cinnamon rolls.
Ooh.
And I go, bucket list for one. And then I'm intuitively trying to figure out. And I go, oh, did you go to the Mayo Clinic? And I was asking. And they go, yeah, we've been to the Mayo Clinic. And so I sat and talked to her for about 40 minutes, just chatting and talking in between, and making her laugh and having a good time. And they ate the cinnamon roll. I go, how was the cinnamon roll? She goes, oh, it was the best ever. And so the guy comes up to me, and when they're walking out, and they said, Michelle, here's $100. I go, whoa, put that back. I do this out of love. You just coming in here. He goes, no. He goes, my wife has bowel cancer, and she has not smiled or laughed for 3 years. And she goes, and he said, you came in, and she goes, you made my wife the happiest person ever. And then she comes in and gives me a green bracelet, and I was wearing my green bracelet, and I go, this is why we're here. We're here to bless people, to make them feel loved, to give them a spark when they come into the store. And that is why when I get bad reviews, it's like, because that is my mission in life, is because I know how awful it feels to not know what your body is going to react to each day. And to have doctors may or may not listen to you, and to feel like the only reprieve you're getting is to getting some food that's not going to make you sick that day. We're going to do our best to make them feel loved.
That's why I said this is not
For the week of heart.
It's not, because it's not the ultimate reward is not money.
No.
It's not money. I mean, if we're going to be honest, we're likely going to lose money, period. That's just the reality of the situation at hand, because a lot of things have changed. The whole dynamic of the restaurant industry, I often tell people, it's become the Hunger Games. Okay, everybody's out to try and kill you.
Oh my.
Okay, you can't survive unless you have help from either sponsors outside,
investors,
or people who.
Oh, Jamie's local love. Oh, thank you.
Jamie loves us.
Thank you.
But that's the reality of it. You can't survive unless you have these people from the outside as well as internally trying to help you and survive. Whereas before, all you had to do is make a good product and people would come out and do that. But the problem is, what's been lost in the dilution of reality is you see things that look amazing on social media, and you go out and you try them and you spend a lot of money, and then they taste like dog crap, and you're like, I just got
I
suckered.
drove all this way.
Right.
It looked so cute on Instagram.
And then they pump you up, and sometimes their expectations of you is a lot as well. But I just love it. I love every day going into work. I love doing what I'm doing. It's long hours.
Would you love your job if you worked 80 hours a week and didn't get paid for 3 years?
I mean, I went $65K in debt to do what I do.
There you go. There you go.
You're not doing this for anything other than the
Because
passion,
you
because
love.
you have that disease for what you're,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the hard part for people to get. As a matter of fact, when we get people who come in and go, oh, I want to do this, and I'll say, okay, bring me your food. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat it. I'm going to tell you one of two things. Now, what I'm going to tell you is a lot like if you've ever watched American Idol, where somebody sings and they go, who told you could sing? And they're like, oh, my friends and my family and everybody, I sing here. And they're like, yeah, you can sing, but it's not on the national level. So what I tell people, look, good is a hobby. Great is a business. You have to have something that makes people, while they're sitting at home, want to get off their couch to come and eat.
And spend their money with you. It's such a big deal now. I mean, it's not cheap. Any dinner is going to be 60 plus most of the time. And so you need to make sure it meets your dietary needs. You need to make sure it's satisfying. You need to make sure that the entire family can dine together happily. And those are, who can do those three things? I mean, that's huge.
It's a lot.
And so that's why it is so important to me to highlight our local businesses and our people in our community whose passion is behind it. Because then everyone wins. When the community is feeding each other in this way, everybody can win. You guys have had some big names come in. You've had some influencers. You had, who is it? ASAP.
He never said anything, because it was the only time I went home early. And I had my Ashley there. She goes, I didn't know. It was a guy, and he had 2 big bodyguards behind him. I go, when they have bodyguards, baby, you spoil them. You spoil them. She goes, I didn't know. I was a little intimidated. I go, you should have called me. So
But what happened? What happened that day?
He just came through.
So actually what happened was that so I found out the story after the fact. But one of my friends knew somebody who was working at Nordstrom's.
Yes, getting.
And he was Aesop Rocky was at Nordstrom's buying a gift for his mom and asked, do you know any place in town that can do gluten-free or vegan? I need to get my mom a pastry for her birthday. And they said, oh, you have to go. It's right down the street. You have to go. It's a place called Beg. And so evidently, I guess the bodyguards came in to check the location out, make sure, and then told them, hey, we're going to have a high priority person come in. Just want to make sure you're okay with that.
I rip her to this day. She's a great employee.
Well, now she knows for the next famous person to come in.
Next time you let us know. But it has been really good to have like even Diana Taurasi come in because it's family. That's my thing. It's like it's herself and her wife and her son that's there to have cinnamon rolls all the time. But it's really actually the regular families I love the most. Yeah. They come in, and because he makes huge plates. We're Italian, so we make a meatball sub is bigger than your face. And we say, listen, it could split 2 people. Yeah. So when we're going out to eat and you have a family of 6, they can split a meal and the cost is down a little bit.
Well, I think it's imperative to experience your spot the way that it is. So we paused before we went into food for ourselves. An opportunity came available for us to go into another business with a partner and open up. And the food was really good, so I was intrigued. And so we went into it. And what you learn is when I went to it, the food was great, but I paid for it out of pocket every time I went in to eat it. Because as a customer, I wanted to see what that experience was going to be like. And after a couple of times doing that, I realized this isn't sustainable. You're going to get a customer that's going to eat maybe once or twice a month, but unless we can find a way to really make this a little bit more cost effective, you're not going to be able to pull in a family of 4 because a family of 4 is not going to eat an $80 meal and then go get a pizza for $20. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Because you're going to have to make the decision of, last night we ate at a place, a chain restaurant for the 3 of us. The meal was $50. You know what I mean? And that's for 2 adults and 1 child. You're going to go, well, that seems a bit extreme. Unless you could break it out into lunches or a little leftover meal or something to that effect. But what it did teach me by buying my own product, every time I went in and I was hungry and I wanted to eat it, paying for it, I realized at the end of the month when I looked at the budget and said, oh my gosh, I spent $220 eating here this month. Well, someone's going to do that same calculation. They're going to pull their monthly expenditure going, hey, I spent money this month. Where did I spend it? And if they spent it eating at your restaurant, you should basically be offering some sort of way of subsidizing that customer's experience with you consistently. And that's where me and my partner at the time had some disagreements and we decided to separate and then we went into our own thing. But when you come into our own thing, when you eat a plate, yes, you're going to have enough in there to get your meal and a little bit left over because I know the perception of it is that no matter what, it's expensive because no matter what today, things are expensive.
Yeah, it is.
I'll ask this question because most people don't know this and it's a great point, but as a percentage, how much has chocolate gone up in the last 12 months?
Well, didn't you tell me it was
it
was like 100 to 300?
It went up 350%.
Like you told me this.
Now, we have people saying, oh my gosh, it's expensive to eat a cupcake or a muffin. And we go, oh my gosh, do you realize we're selling to you at a break even or potentially a loss? Because of the fact that the ingredients have gone up so exponentially, but we can't charge you. We can't charge $7 for a muffin or a cupcake. We know there's a barrier of entry to there. Our food is good. It's not $7 good. Let's just put it to the reality of it is. But when you take that is a mental. That's just the reality of the way the situation is today. We can't get around that.
We can't live without our chocolate.
No,
so
we
I mean
cannot.
that's where you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to pony up for that cupcake,
or you
and it
find
better
an
be
alternative.
good.
Can I find a
There's
way to
no
make
alternative for
There's
chocolate.
Not with chocolate.
Like Michelle and I are on the, we're like, no.
Nah, real chocolate, because we tried it.
Yeah.
Let's just be
we
real.
have
We
tried it.
tried it with like a different chocolate mix to be able to do our drizzle. Had it for a week, said it was disgusting. Is this compared to this? This is a 12 out of a 10 scale. This is a 4 out of a 10. I'm not going to lower what we expect on our food and the quality of our food to be able to go downwards. So what we're also going to do, Jamie, in April that we talked about, but I didn't let you know, is that we're going to be teaching people how to make their sourdough bread. We're going to be having a market where they can buy their pancake mixes and they can buy cookie jars, and they can buy anything that they can go home and make it at home with their kids and enjoy it. So it's going to be a home market.
It's less
setup.
threatening when you're saying, okay, if you try to make it for yourself, number one, you understand the reality of making it, okay? And number two, you understand the cost of buying the ingredients. Well, if you buy the ingredient, remember the whole idea of going through Wendy's for a $5 meal when, you know, well, by the time I went to the grocery store and bought the groceries and did all the
outsources,
and now that burger costs the same much, and everybody's like, but I don't want to make the burger anymore, right? That's kind of teaching somebody how to do it for themselves so that, look, if you want to do it, you can at least appreciate that this is the reason why it cost this. This is the reason why and how much it went into. Our cinnamon rolls are the only thing that's not universally priced to everything else, and that's because it takes 3 hours minimum of labor to make one batch of 24 cinnamon rolls. That's 3 hours of a person working to make 24 items. You know what I mean? But the reality of it is when you get that product, you can go, it was worth the 3 hours that was invested into it. And that's why we do what we do in that regard of charging for what we do for that.
So we want to let people know that you guys are the place, whether you're looking for a cinnamon roll, since we've talked about them so much. I think everyone's craving one. Cookies, brownies, cakes, etc. Ice cream, of course. Pasta, your meatballs, your Parmesan, etc. So you can come get your dinner, come get your snacks, and enjoy. Michelle and Rich, has been great to have you guys.
Thank you
so much for coming. Congratulations. I want a cinnamon roll right now.
We didn't even have to, we have to bring you something.
Next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Jamie's Local Love, the podcast. I'm your host, Jaime Cerreta. Our technician is Tom Heidinger. Our editors are Lorraine Shearing and Gina Coy. Do you know a business worthy of some local love? Email me at jcerreta@azfamily.com. Follow us at facebook.com/Cerreta and Instagram @Cerreta News. Make sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star review, please. And tell your friends about the podcast and the businesses we feature to show your local love. You can find us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
Jamie's Local Love, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.